welcome. Today we're going to be discussing our trip on Virgin Voyages down to the Dominican Republic and our future trip to Alaska. Hi, and welcome to the adventures of Two Gray Mice. I'm Meg.
And I'm Rob.
And we are Two Gray Mice. Hi, Rob.
Hi, Meg.
How we doing today?
Just grand.
You enjoying October?
Yeah. I wish we had gotten a little more rain, so there'd be a little more color.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not looking forward to the leaves.
No. Well, leaves are leaves. As you know my philosophy. God put them there. God will take them away. So, Virgin Voyages. Virgin launched their cruise ship line in 2021, which was a year later than they expected for obvious reasons. And it is a cruise ship that is solely for adults. Anyone 18 and older, no children allowed. It's one of the few cruise lines that actually has that firmly out there, especially at the mid-price cruise range. And they kind of advertised it first as a party ship, and it was and wasn't all at once. But as a couple, we really kind of found it enjoyable as a way of getting away. For us, it was a 5-night cruise. They have shorter cruises, they have longer cruises, but it was just a fun way of getting away from life and enjoying some really great entertainment and food.
Yeah, just disconnecting for 5 days, as Meg said. Really, technically speaking, I think this was only my second cruise. And after the cruise, I wondered why I had poo-pooed it and put it off for so long, because it really was enjoyable. And as Meg said, just a great experience. I can't say enough about the time that we had. Well, I guess we're going to talk more about it right now.
I'm hoping we could talk more about it.
But just a real over the top experience. The experience left me wanting to go again, which is why we are going again.
Right. Now, we sailed on the Scarlet Lady. Now, when we went, it was December of 2023. It was a 5-night cruise. Then it was called Dominican Days. They're changing all the names so you can understand a little bit better about where they travel. But we just stopped in Punta Plata, the Dominican Republic, and then the Bimini Beach Club with Resorts World in the Bahamas. And we sailed out of Miami. Scarlet Lady was their first ship that was launched. They now have 4. The Brilliant Lady just launched last month out of New York. We had a sea terrace room, which is what they call their balcony staterooms, on deck 12 in the aft section, which at first concerned me because if anybody's ever talked to you about cruising and you've ever been seasick, they always tell you to try to go for the center of the ship because the forward and aft sections will move more. And I'm the one that gets seasick.
Yeah, I don't get seasick.
Right. And I didn't have any problems at all, even when we hit that storm.
Yeah. And I mean, it wasn't a big storm by any stretch of the imagination, but I felt the movement of the ship was predictable. And it never really, I mean, once I was on board for a day, didn't really notice it at all.
Right. I mean, I think if we were really rocking and rolling, like our first night out on our very first cruise.
Yes.
Where we hit a major storm right outside of New York City.
You would probably notice.
I may have had problems, but we did not hit that kind of a storm.
Nope.
And I really didn't have any problems with the movement of the ship, even though it's a considerably smaller ship compared to some of these huge ocean liners that Norwegian has out there, that Royal Caribbean has out there. It's a much smaller, more intimate ship. Not as small as some others, but Rob wouldn't call it small.
I would not call it a small boat. No.
No. So the two things that I think Virgin is known for is their food and their entertainment. There's no main dining hall. There's no set dining time. There's not one place you have to go every night at 6 o'clock or 8 o'clock to have dinner, which was our experience the first time we cruised, which can be annoying. You may not be hungry. You may not want whatever. They have, and I'm going to count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. 5 main dining restaurants that you pick from each night. You have to you can make reservations before you get on board. And then once you're on board, you can change things up. And they have what is more like, they call it the galley food hall, but it's more like a food hall.
It's a gigantic
food court.
Food court. What I found interesting about the food court is it would undergo transformations throughout the day. So you'd be down there wandering through after breakfast, and you would see certain stands. And then when you came back at lunch, they had cycled whatever was in that stand. There were ices the one day and in the one stand at dinner. And then the next morning when we wandered through, that was where the baguettes were being sold from.
Right, or the fresh fruit or whatever.
Yeah. And I found that nice, mixing it up. But you're on the ship for the 5 days, and we had snacks when we were offshore, but didn't really have meals offshore. So all of our meals were taken on board the ship, and in that entire 5-day period of time, we didn't have a single bad meal, and several of the meals that we had, I would say were above average, and a couple were just outstanding. Just delicious food. Oh, and you want a second dessert? You can have a second dessert. Not that I'm a second dessert kind of person, except when we were at the Blue Agave.
Right. And just like every cruise ship, when you go to the main dining hall on, Royal Caribbean or Disney or whatever, you can get 2 entrees if you want 2 entrees. You can do the same thing here. You can eat as much food as you want to eat. It's just you get to pick what restaurant you want to go to or the galley. And there was a New York diner. There was a soup and salad bar. There was a sushi bar.
The pizza place
was packed.
Every day, the pizza place was packed.
Yeah.
You could, yes, there was one night we wandered through and it was about 10 o'clock at night. And the show had let out about a half an hour before. There was such a knot of people in that one area of the ship. I thought maybe it was going to list a little.
Yeah. But it was good pizza.
It was very good pizza. Yeah, they must have gotten the water from Brooklyn or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, from start to finish, it was an exceptional experience. I have to say. And some of the big takeaways for me on the trip. So there's all this. There's a form you have to fill out before you get on board. They take all of that information and they bring it up when you actually check in, and you get your credentials and your room key. They take your photograph. What I loved about the experience, and while some people might find this intrusive, I didn't find it intrusive at all. But you're now in the ship's database, and all of their employees have access to that information. So whenever you sit down to eat, whenever you order a cocktail, wherever you're doing an experience around the ship, they in a way know you. And I found that very refreshing. The 3 young gentlemen that we had who were working our area of rooms on the ship knew us by name after the first day. It felt very welcoming. It put me at ease. And in the case of your pepper allergy, every restaurant we went to knew that Meg is allergic to ground black pepper. I just find that, I don't know, I'm paying a lot of money to go on a vacation and to be pampered for 5 days, and I liked it. I thought it felt very reassuring and different, I guess.
Yeah. So when you check in, when you're going through the boarding process, which was easy peasy. I mean, it was painless. There was no huge line. There was nothing. It was
Lots
very
of
painless.
Stations, lots of attendants.
And now in Miami, they have their own pier dock facility. What do you want to call it? So it makes it a lot easier because they can, be set up and ready to go. unlike when you sail out of New York, where it's just like a free-for-all because nobody owns that pier and everybody has to share things. I just witnessed recently a Norwegian onboarding, and it was crazy pants. But when you get on board a Virgin, you're given a bracelet, a cord, and it has a little bead on it. And the bead is RFID device. Thank you. I knew you'd know fill in those initials for me.
So what does the acronym RFID stand for?
I don't know, Rob.
Absolutely clueless. I have no idea.
It's radio frequency something. Hooey. Anyway.
Hey, one of our listeners, drop us a line and tell us what RFID means, because I'm too lazy to bring it up on my computer right now.
Yeah. Okay. 3 days from now, I'm going to get a text message from Tim.
Don't think of it as a tracker, but just think of it the same way you would think of, say, a magic band. It's just your all access pass to wherever you need to go on the ship. And whatever restaurant or lounge you attend. And it was seamless. I had no issues with the technology that they were utilizing on board.
No, and it's waterproof, so you didn't have to worry about going in the hot tub, going in the pool, taking it off. So unlike so many other cruise lines where they give you a lanyard and like a room key that you have to then show to do everything, or take out of your wallet.
This was so much more convenient.
So much more convenient. And so you'd order your drink and your lanyard, your bead is right on your wrist, and then you just go dink. Okay, no problem, Miss Flood. We'll be right with you. No problem, Mr. Ward. We'll be right with you. Which is how they knew everything. I mean, the room stewards, got to know us because they greeted us every day. Virgin is very conservation minded, so there is no plastic on board at all. There is no single-use item on board. So there is no water bottles, like plastic, one-use, single-use water bottles.
Yeah, I mean, there is plastic on all the glasses.
Yes, but they're not single-use.
But they're not single-use.
Right.
Correct.
So when you get into your room, you'll have 2 bottles, carafes, one of sparkling water, one of flat water in your room. Once your stewards know which one you use, they will never be empty.
Ever.
They will fill in the morning, and then they come back in the afternoon and fill them again. Your room is dealt with twice a day, first thing in the morning and then in the afternoon. So if you wanted your room, because your bed could be your bed or it can be a couch. It's very comfortable, though.
Yeah.
If you wanted to turn your bed into a couch during the day, your steward would do that for you and then put it back into a bed every night. Or in the case of families or people, like if you have like a girls' trip and all 4 of you in one room, they would turn one bed into a couch, keep one bed as a bed, and at night they would come back and swap it out for you. The room stewards were fabulous.
Yeah, they were. Let's just say the staff on the ship was fantastic. The other thing that I found nice about it, we kept bumping into the same couple of bartenders day after day, but at different establishments, because we were, getting our feel for the boat and wandering around and sampling everything as much as we could of everything that was on board. And there were a couple of folks in particular that we kept bumping into, and the one guy, I don't know how they choose their employees, but I saw him 2 days in a row. And on the second day, he asked me if I wanted the same beer that I had the last time that we had briefly chatted at the other bar. And I was like, how do you do that? I can't do that. I can't remember what a complete and total stranger had the day before.
Yeah, not when you've served 1,000 people between them.
Right. That was, so they choose their people very, very well. And you encouraged me to do that scotch tasting. So it was a very personal 1-on-4. There was one couple, and then there were 3 of us. So I guess that was 5 people.
It was an extra. So
yeah,
just like most cruise lines, you have to pay for your excursions off the ship, and very often there's separate things you can do on board that are a little extra money. This was a scotch tasting that was actually, there's a great little liquor store.
Beautiful liquor store. Phenomenal selection. The gentleman who was the guide was top shelf, to pardon the the pub pun. But and talking about him too, he started off this whole presentation, and I should back up a little bit because it wasn't something that I was going to do. But then you said to me, you have to do it. Just do it.
Well, because you love good single malt scotches.
So I did it, and it was a phenomenal experience. So this was his 5th sailing with Virgin. They do them in 6-month contracts. After his 2nd sailing, he went to go renew and sign up for a 3rd sailing, and his boss said, I'm here to talk to you because I'm not going to renew your contract for a 3rd sailing. And he was devastated until his boss looked at him and said, there's something else I need you to do for us. And so they basically entered into a contract with him for a 3rd sailing, but instead of him being on a ship, they shipped him off to Scotland. And he spent 2-month chunks of time with 3 different distilleries out there, really learning what it was that he was selling. And he said it was an experience that changed his life. Exceptionally knowledgeable, very easy to talk to. I actually felt kind of, bad for him in a way because there's thousands of people on the ship, yet there's only 5 people here who are partaking of your knowledge, your expertise, and your warmth. And it was like, one of the best experiences that I had while we were on the ship. It was great.
No, and it was supposed to be like 45 minutes. And it was closer to an hour and a half?
Yeah, we were there for quite a while. He just kept going and going. And
but you were also engaged. That like you popped out and you were like, "Well, that was really quick." And I was like, "It's been an hour and a half." And you're like, "What?
Really?
Really? Yeah."
Oh.
Yeah. So I mean, there's several things. What's also I didn't say this about Virgin Voyages is, I mean, they've changed their pricing structure just recently, a little bit. But for the most part, still, your voyage fare covers everything.
Everything.
They're now, when you pay your fare, they're pulling out what is going towards gratuities, but you're still paying it all up front. There's no extras for food. There's no restaurant that you have to pay extra for to go to.
Yeah, there's no Wi-Fi charge.
Well, if you want to upgrade your Wi-Fi charge, there is.
Right, if you want the whole international calling and access. Thing.
Well, if you're streaming or working
within the confines of the ship.
Right, you didn't upgrade your Wi-Fi, never had a problem.
No, I never had a problem.
And the Wi-Fi upgrade is not outrageous.
And that all-inclusive fee, allows you to have ice cream at 2:00 in the morning.
Right.
And, I'll pay a pretty hefty premium to be able to have chocolate ice cream at 2:00 in the morning.
I'm not sure it was quite 2 a.m., but it was open very late. Yeah. And so all of that, all your entertainment's included. There's no upcharges on board. And besides alcohol, that's the only thing you're paying. So you're not paying for your soda. You're not paying for your juices. You're not, if you go on Royal Caribbean, you go on Norwegian, your water, your coffee, and your tea is free.
Yeah.
That's it. Now on Virgin 2, your cold pressed juices, your fancy lattes, and your alcohol is what you're paying. And then the occasional scotch tasting.
I like the way you said cold pressed juices.
That's the way they put it. Cold pressed juices. Then the few upgrades on board of like there's recording studio or something along those lines, your scotch tasting and some other small things.
Recording studios an upcharge?
No, they have a version of it that is and version of it that's not.
Right,
the karaoke. Yeah. The karaoke studios you just have to book them.
Oh, that was the crazy thing about the ship. So you can go down because they have a record shop, but it's Virgin. So they have a record shop. This was kind of trippy. You can go to the record shop and you can sign out a portable turntable. So like think about, those little, like small suitcase phonographs that were popular when you were kids.
Or not.
Or not.
Depending how old you are.
Depending upon how old you were. I remember them.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, but I'm ancient. But so you can sign out a phonograph and you can sign out up to 3 albums. And you can take the phonograph and the albums back to your room and listen to them. I thought it was really trippy. Turntables on a ship.
Right.
Who'd have thought?
And what I also
they also have separate listening rooms. So you can get a phonograph and record albums and go into a listening room.
Right, and they had a DJ one night there spinning requests.
Yes,
because it's right next to a bar. The separate classes of cabins on Virgin is pretty straightforward too.
Yep.
There's not, as a travel advisor, there's 13, 14 different classes of cabins on some of these cruise lines, and I can't tell the difference between them sometimes. It's like minute. You have an inside cabin in Virgin Voyages. You have a solo inside cabin in Virgin Voyages. Virgin, oh my goodness gracious. Virgin Voyages makes it very easy as a solo traveler to go on a cruise inexpensively.
Yep.
They don't charge you the full double occupancy rate. And they really kind of started that trend, and a lot of the other cruise lines are catching on. It's really great. So you have an inside cabin, an inside solo cabin, a sea view cabin, solo sea view cabin. Then you have the sea terrace, and then you have suites.
Yep, and that's it.
And the suites go from very nice suite to, wow, I'd really love to be able to afford that suite.
Yeah, there's a separate outdoor section for Richard's guests. Richard's
Rooftop Lounge.
Yes, if you're if you're doing that premium top tier thing,
the suites, any of the suites.
Yeah, you get a little outdoor space of your own. But wherever we went on the ship, it just looked. And we were talking about this the other night. I mean, the ship was 2 years old when we took our cruise. And it looked like it had just come out of the showroom. The ship was impeccably clean, no matter where we went. Well, that was the other thing that was fun too. So, if you're ever on the Scarlet Lady, and you go into any one of the public restrooms that are on those intermediate 3 decks where everything shakes out, you walk into these restrooms, and it's almost like you're walking into one of those escape rooms.
Oh God, yes.
Because once you're in the restroom and you do your thing and you finish washing yourself up, you turn around and you're like, okay, which one of these wall panels is the door?
Because all the wall panels are the same.
Yeah, and it was funny because when we were at the Korean barbecue restaurant for dinner, that's communal seating. So they sit you in groups of either 6 or 8. And we were with these 2 other couples. And that was the one thing that all 3 of us agreed upon, that the bathrooms did have that like escape room-esque feel about them.
Yeah, they did. They learned a lot. Of course, it was their first ship. They had to learn what worked, what didn't work, what people found overwhelming or not overwhelming, as the case may be. And the Scarlet Lady actually just went through a rehab, and they have more suites, and they've toned some things down. It's a very bright ship, and I'm not talking just about the lighting. I'm talking about the colors, the vibe, everything. It's very bright, welcoming, but bright.
Yeah, not bright in the sense of garish.
No.
Nothing along those lines.
Well, Brazel was a little, but yeah.
No. Well, no, that was just the theming of that particular restaurant, which they've changed.
Yeah.
But, you're talking kitschy Americana in the 50s, and that's what we got. When we walked inside there, it was like, woo, wow, this is kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
The one thing I do want to point out is, so we took in 2 shows while we were on board, and one was even better than the next. And this is also something else that we find the cruise lines are really getting on board with. Shows have always been a big part of going on cruises like this, show offerings. a lot of these shows now are very technologically advanced. The type of stuff that you'd see on Broadway in terms of moving technology and lighting. And both of the shows that we saw just, took it to a whole nother level. Nothing that I was prepared for. The one show that we saw featured these large moving panels on stage that slid back and forth. Those all had projections running on them, and it was seamless. And these panels are all moving in front of and behind each other, and the work that they did with the projections was phenomenal. Sometimes projections can be exceptionally distracting. This was not one of those times.
No,
I really felt that it moved the story forward in a way that took advantage of the technology.
Yeah, and I can't remember I cannot remember the name of that show, that it was very good. The other show that we saw was, I think, is on all of their ships. It's called Dual Reality, which always has a storyline to it. Ours was like Romeo and Juliet themed. How would you describe it?
So I would describe it as a cross between Romeo and Juliet and the Sharks and the Jet, because there was a fair amount of competition between the two teams that were. Is it really?
Yeah, a little more West Side Story than.
Yeah. So, red shirts, blue shirts, and very much at odds with each other throughout the majority of the piece. It's like one team challenging the other team to do one better. It gets a little antagonistic at one point, and then it just morphs into this story. And what I found fascinating about it is, so they're trained acrobats. There's no dialogue in the story whatsoever, yet I really felt that they did a great job of showing how two groups that feel that they're very far apart from each other can come together and actually be better than their individual selves.
Right.
It was a great show.
It was a great show. And as Rob mentioned, there were acrobats or jugglers or something along those lines. So one person from one team would challenge the other person from the other team to something. So it'd be two jugglers, or it was the teeter-totter, but not, when they jump on it. So one guy's trying to knock the other guy off the teeter-totter, and they're bouncing really high in the air.
And we mean really high in the air. I mean, they were getting a good 20 feet up.
Yeah, and spinning and landing back down and knocking the other guy off, and the rope things. And it's just very interesting, very high intensity. Big ticket item. Not a ticket item, but it's hard to get. You really want to see the show when you're on board.
Yeah, and so, it's set up arena style. You have audience across from each other. There's about 8 rows of audience.
Giving you the two different sides, too.
On either side. I would say seating capacity is on the order of 450.
Yeah.
Maybe 500. So it was one of those things that we really wanted to see, so we made sure that we got reservations. But it's also one of those shows that if the ship's really rocking and rolling, they won't and can't do the show, for safety reasons with the performers. And that one performance that was
they moved it.
Was moved, yeah,
because the entire cruise, we were chasing this small storm across the Caribbean. I mean, we had most of our days were cloudy, most of our days were windy. Weather-wise, it was not a great cruise, though it never bothered us.
No, it never bothered us.
But when we left the DR, we were going to be going right through the storm. So they moved the show to an earlier time so that it could actually be done while we were still docked.
Yep.
For the safety of the actors.
Yeah.
Which was, it was just really, really good. The other entertainment-wise thing that they do, well, you also have to see the diva. Each show has a diva and a show that the diva does. Ours was doing a show about going around the world. They're cabaret numbers. It's a cabaret show.
And a lot of audience participation and intimate, because these shows take place for the most part out in common areas throughout the ship. You're no more than, 50 feet away from the performer, tops. And again, the diva that we had on our ship was phenomenal. And as soon as word got around, anytime they were out, it was standing room only and packed. in that area of the ship.
Right. Now she did have they had a show in the Red Room, I believe, a big show, but it was only done 2 or 3 times during the cruise.
Right. So if you wanted to catch them, you had to literally do it.
And it was a much bigger seating, much better. I walked into it because is it the Red Room? No, because it's the one with the 2 stories. Anyway, I went in there and you could see it, and I watched it for a little while. Great show. The Diva also hosts all the parties that they have on board. But these small intimate ones, we caught them on the rocks. I believe that's where we were when we caught them singing that one night, just doing a quick little cabaret.
Yeah.
Which was wonderful. But also at the dock house. The dock house is inside, right?
The dock house is inside.
The dock.
Yeah.
So you have the dock house inside and the dock, which was outside. The dock is the bar all the way aft, outside. And very often there was that one gentleman, the guitarist.
Yeah, he was great. There was always somebody performing live out there 3-4 times.
Right. Or inside at the dock house, depending on the weather.
So not a shortage of things to do, not a shortage of things to see. And then I think one of the other memorable parts for me was there's a lounge called the Sip. It's the Champagne Lounge, but they do a high tea there,
which is extra, but a lot.
But not a lot, and so well worth it. Because we do enjoy a high tea.
I'm a tea drinker.
Yeah,
and I love a good high tea.
A great mix of savory and sweet selections. You felt so pampered, but it wasn't like somebody was hovering over you the entire time, and
it was champagne and tea.
Yeah, and very enjoyable.
Very enjoyable. Very relaxing. Very romantic, if you want it to be, or not, if you aren't with the person you're being romantic with.
Was it really romantic?
Yes, darling. It's always romantic, wasn't it, she? The Sip Champagne Lounge was definitely a fun place to be. And very often, if you were looking for a drink later on at night, in a quiet spot, a much quieter lounge in the evening.
Yeah.
When you were looking for something. The Dock House could get rocking. Definitely the Loose Cannon, which was the one by the popcorn. And they have a food location that specializes in like popcorn, hot dogs, and shakes. It's like just the fun food from a 1950s diner. That's also where they very often have the trivia, the games, and stuff like that. But over in the corner, they have the Loose Cannon, which is a bar, and
probably like one of the smallest bars on the ship. But holy cow! It's just every time we went by it, it was rocking.
Yeah, it was rocking. The Draught House, which is their beer place, which is basically almost directly above, I believe, or below. Anyway, the Loose Cannon was very good.
So, I mean, if you get a chance to do one of these short trips on the Scarlet Lady, and I think she's out doing 8-day trips now as well, definitely look into it, because it was such a fun time that we've booked another trip for one of my wife's upcoming milestones. And really looking forward to it. It's gonna be an exciting trip, and it's a different ship, and I can't wait.
Yeah, we're going to Alaska, leaving out of Seattle next July on the Brilliant Lady, which is their newest ship. The Brilliant Lady is built a little smaller than the other ships. The purpose behind that is specifically for the Alaskan cruise. Also, the Panama Canal cruise that this ship will do every year. They have opened up all the bar areas. So like the Loose Cannon area has huge windows now. Not that closed-on feeling, because they want you to be able to see the Alaskan coastline or watch as you go through the Panama Canal.
So I think it's set up a lot more, almost in a way to be like a vista ship.
Right. So it's got a lot more windows, a lot more
it doesn't have
open
as many
areas.
Decks.
Correct. Not as many decks. And it does have obstructed view terraces because of it too.
Right. But the capacity's
the same.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah, it's the same.
A little less.
No, because they did the obstructed view terraces instead.
Right.
Okay. It's just a smaller terrace, and you're looking at the lifeboats.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's me.
I don't know. I find seeing lifeboats to be very reassuring.
Yes.
especially on something that large. But the itinerary is exciting. We're planning a couple of excursions for the days that we're in port.
The entire family's going.
And what's nice is just about every day, so you're in port from 8 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock at night. So it does give you a good 10-hour chunk to go and have an experience, or to just set out on foot on your own, or want to hang out in the ship. That's cool too.
Right. So we're going to, the basic spots, Victoria, British Columbia, leaving out of Seattle, Ketchikan, Tracy Arm, Fjord. That whole lower little section of Alaska, that tail, as I like to call it. I'm very much looking forward to it. It's something I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to see the wildlife. I've always wanted to see the whales. Of course,
I want to go to Alaska.
Of course, the big joke is every time we've ever gone on a whale watching trip, we've seen 0 whales.
Well, no, that's not true. We saw the clear whale. We saw the glass whale.
Sarcasm.
We saw the invisible whale.
Yes.
The invisible whale.
So this will be the only summer in Alaska that there'll be no whales.
There'll be no whales. Somebody's going to call them up in June and go, hey.
Floods on our way.
2 weeks. We're all going south, okay?
We're going to leave. Just going to go out a little farther out in the ocean. Nobody will notice.
No, but as Meg said, family's coming along. We're not exactly sure how many people at this point in time, but we're going to have a large party on there on the boat. And I know we're going to be looked after. I know we're going to be taken care of. I know when we reach out to Virgin and say this is sort of like a destination cruise in a way because of the purpose of the trip and my wife's milestone and all. And I'm sure there's going to be something extra in store for us. I know we're going to be taken care of. I know we're going to enjoy ourselves and have a great time. And knowing that going in, even before making the reservation, it's just, you work hard for your money and you work hard to get that free time to spend some of that money. And I would rather do it with a vendor and a company that's going to look after me, that's going to take care of me, that's going to make me feel at the end of the trip like I not only got my money's worth, I also got a little bit extra. And I know that's the experience that we're going to have on Virgin.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to it. And what's exciting for me is being a travel advisor, I did form a group that I can add on to whenever I want to and add more people to at the rate that I got it at, which is 70% off the second person in the room. So we're all getting a great deal. And then because it's a group, there's an additional 10% off. So if anybody out there wants to join us, just let me know. We can always bring you to Alaska with us. But it's going to be fun.
You have to behave yourself, though.
Or pretend you don't know us.
Yeah. If you're not going to behave yourself, yeah.
Yeah. And, just, to give you a quick overview of all of the ships, they all have, like I said, it's 5 or 6 restaurants. They have Extra Virgin, which is their Italian restaurant. They have Pink Agave, which is an amazing Mexican restaurant. Though Extra Virgin I think those were 2 best meals.
Yes.
Hands down.
What? The whale.
The wait, not the wait. The wake.
Right.
The whale.
The whale.
The wake.
We were
That's the
talking
steakhouse.
about sightseeing. Yeah.
That's the steakhouse.
The wake.
Beautiful, too.
The wake was gorgeous.
It overlooks the aft.
And the food
big
was
windows.
Phenomenal.
And you can do brunch at the wake and you can do dinner at the wake.
Yep.
Did we do brunch, too? Yeah.
Yeah, we did. We
did both meals. Yep.
We had such a nice time that we had to go back.
Right. Then you have Gumbay, who's the Korean barbecue.
Yep.
Now, when we were on the Scarlet Lady, you had Razzle Dazzle, which was dinner or brunch as well. No, dinner or breakfast. And had a little vegetarian leaning to it. Now, Razzle Dazzle is becoming a slightly more specialized restaurant in each ship. So one, we were reading yesterday, one was Asian, one was something else.
Yeah, that was
one's still more Americanized. So that Razzle Dazzle is going to be a little different on each ship.
On each ship.
And the one restaurant we did not go to is called the Test Kitchen.
Yep, we did not do Test Kitchen.
It's a little more elaborate, more fancy that small plate with that little thing in the middle and the swoosh on the side, as our son likes to say.
Swish on the side.
Just not something that we were into.
Yeah, it didn't really intrigue us, so it was one of the places that we didn't sample. But like I said, no matter where we went on the boat, we were looked after, we were taken care of. Nothing was intrusive. There was one afternoon where we just we went to the one lounge, just kicked up our feet, and it was every 20 minutes.
Oh, because all the lounges have small bites.
Right. Someone would wander over.
And I think we did small bites most lunches, right?
Yeah.
We always ate breakfast at the galley, except unless we went to the wake. Yeah. It was wonderful. We cannot recommend Virgin Voyages more. We really cannot.
Cannot. And we may as well say this right up front. We receive no support whatsoever from Virgin.
We receive no support.
Yeah, no support. Yeah. The opinions that we're offering are genuine and consumer based on past experiences.
And as a married couple of 30 years, a lot of people out there may have kids. And you're like, great, this sounds like a perfect, I'll save it for 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Something Rob and I have always done from the beginning is, even when the kids were little, we've gotten away, just the two of us.
Just the two of us.
And it is so incredibly important. We believe in a marriage, if possible, to get away even for a day, one night. And at first, it was one night. And then its kids got a little older and it was a little easier for grandma to take care of them. It was 2 nights.
Yeah.
And then it got
weekend.
a little, yeah. Well, and then before we had 2 children, our first cruise we were gone for 9 days. And my sister took our daughter for 9 days. It was wonderful.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
And it's important.
Yeah, it is important.
So if you have that support that can watch a kid for a weekend, there's 3-night cruises, there's 4-night cruises. Try to get away. Try to go someplace where it's just adults and there's no kids and you can just be together.
Yeah,
no matter what your couple looks like.
If you live in the tri-state area, explore those options that are leaving out of Newark and New York City, because they've become way more varied. It's great. Some of the routes head south. Some of the routes head north. So many different offerings. We're not talking like you have to hop on a plane if you're in the tri-state area and take a 6-hour flight to go someplace. All the major cruise lines now are running short 3-day and 5-day hops that are the perfect disconnect. You're pampered. Everything's for the most part included. You're being looked after, taken care of, and you're able to disconnect. Right.
And yes,
and not spend a fortune either.
Right. And Virgin does go to Europe, and they're fabulous cruises, and that is on our bucket list. But in the States, you can go out of New York, Miami, Puerto Rico, I believe, San Diego, and Seattle.
Yep.
So there's a cruise out there for you.
Yeah. Just start your search.
Yep. And take the time for yourself. You need it.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all we've got.
Oh, excellent.
Okay. So thank you for listening to The Adventures of 2 Gray Mice. I'm Meg.
And I'm Rob.
And we are 2 Gray Mice.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to The Adventures of 2 Gray Mice. We would love it if you could please leave us a rating or review wherever you listen to this podcast. For all your vacation needs at Disney, Universal, or cruise lines, please reach out to Meg at megandthemouse.com. Have a great week.